everybody. How you doing? My name is Dallin Washington, and we're back for another DTWW reaction. So let's get into this reaction. I'm going to do this reaction on Sam Cooke. What is there to say about Sam Cooke? Well, Sam Cooke is just one of those celebrated voices that I hope whose legacy would never die out. Goodness, Sam Cooke has influenced so many artists up into this time period. You know, you wouldn't without Sam Cooke, there would have never been a Smokey Robinson or a Johnny Taylor or Michael Jackson or a Marvin Gaye. You know, he represented a soulful tone to music that was so sweet that it was powerful to not to just bypass it. And I always say there's always some form of uniqueness when it comes down to musicians or singers who bring a certain different touch that is totally just so unique. And Sam Cooke had that type of talent. He had that type of talent that when you heard it, how could you run away from it? Because it sounded so good, but so unique. Now, Sam Cooke's background was gospel. He came from a quartet that was called the Soul Stirrers. And the Soul Stirrers were a famous gospel group of its time. I mean, even Aretha Franklin was a big fan of that group as well as a big fan of Sam. And it was, you know, Sam who influenced Aretha to go out of the gospel realm into the pop world, is what he did when he got his first hit as You Send Me, which I believe was his first hit. And also I think Lovable was also another undercover hit but he recorded those songs when he left the gospel world, and they became, it's just his voice resonated with a mainstream audience. And to be honest with you, when I look at clips of Sam Cooke, or when I hear his voice, it puts me in the mind of a Nat King Cole with a little bit more soul, if that makes sense. He just had that suave sophistication that just set him apart, and also it gave people a certain look at how soul music could be performed through all genres. I mean, he didn't only sing, you know, soul, he sung pop tunes, and as well as, you know, he sung a lot of show tunes, sophisticated show tune, pop tunes, but it just had that soulful feel to it. And it just gave him just that career that he needed within his short time on this earth. And I just hate that he didn't live to see the flowers that he so rightfully deserved. And he had opened so many doors for at least black entertainers who didn't have the platform at that time period. Because you have to remind yourself, during that time in the 40s and 50s and 60s, as far back as when the recording industry had started, there was always a situation where politics within the racial barriers had played its part. You had race music and you had pop music. And the saddest thing about that was a lot of great black entertainers of that time period were forgotten. They weren't celebrated. Those who could go, you know, pass, you know, go further within the industry, they were celebrated, but there were a lot of those who just weren't celebrated. They were overlooked. And in the case of Sam Cooke, he was one of the lucky ones because he had that personality, and it was just what the world needed to see in order to see past the exterior, to see the interior of this man's gift. So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to look at this performance of, oh my goodness, I Love You for Sentimental Reasons, which is one of my favorite songs. I've always heard the Nat King Cole version of this song. I've heard many other versions, but I want to get into this Sam Cooke version because this really tells you how unique he was in his time period. When everybody was singing it straightforward, he brought a new spin to this song. So let's get into this new spin. Let's get into this reaction too. And I hope you love it because I'm ready to get into it. So let's get into it. Okay.
Sam is now going to sing a song which looks as if it's going to give him another gold record to add to this one. It's I Love You for Sentimental Reasons, and here it goes.
Can we stop right here now? What an opening. What an opening to something that I don't think that ever even existed in that time period. Who was flowing notes like that in that time period? If you have an artist in mind who could do that back in the 50s and especially on a mainstream level, put that in the comments, because that opening, I love you, I love you, I love you. Who was doing that? Because the only thing I could tell you that people don't understand how influential gospel was to these artists of that time period, especially black artists who started in the church. The church, oh my goodness, and I was looking at a episode of Jennifer Hudson's new talk show, and I tell you, the church has always did something to black voices, and because of that, it really set the tone for popular music of then and up until now. I mean, people would love to have sounded like this. Or when Aretha Franklin came onto the scene, or Gladys Knight, who was sounding like that? We always have heard that within the gospel realms of the music industry, but I never, even at this time period, I don't think Nat King Cole was doing this. I don't even think Billy Eckstine was doing this type of singing on a mainstream level. I don't think none of those singers, I don't even think Frank Sinatra would have touched that. But to be honest with you, who was doing that? That's what I'm talking about, the uniqueness of his talent. Those riffs just wasn't flowing out at that time period. Now, I would say this, though, on a real tip. I think Ella at times could do stuff like this, but on a jazz level, not on a pop level, on a soulful level or pop level, but on a jazz level, because she could, with those skits and scats she would do, that sounded almost like riffs to me at times at that point. I think she was revolutionary at introducing that type of form of singing, but he introduced something that was totally different, totally church-based and totally soulful. But I just wanted to bring that up because the way he opened that song was just, oh my God, it just sounds so revolutionary for its time period. But let's get back to this performance, because I just, wow, oh wow.
Please give your loving heart to me and say we'll never part. I think of you every morning. I dream of you every night.
Ooh.
I know I'm never lonely. Whenever you are inside, I know that I love you.
Okay. Let's go back to that. Now, that was something right there. He literally just swung it. I mean, he just, oh wow. That right there. Come on, Michael Bublé. Come on with that. I'm just saying, come on with that if you can, Michael Bublé. I'm just saying, because I don't even hear that, at least. Let's get back in. Let's go back into that, because I'm just like, wow. Wow. My goodness gracious. I'm going back. I'm going back even further than that. Wow.
Whenever you are inside, I know that I love.
Did y'all hear that reaction in the background? Now, who did that? Now, that really tells you somebody in that audience felt that. Somebody in that audience felt that riff and that run, the way he swung that whenever, somebody in that audience had a wow moment because I heard that. This is just wow. This is what it's about. This is what music is about. It's about uniqueness, authenticity. It's about what do you have to offer. And I'm not even gonna go into we ain't hearing that in today's music. I'm not even gonna get on my soapbox with that. But the fact is that wow, come on now. I really, in how crystal clear his voice is, and he is in his articulation is so like, I can hear the words clearly. I can hear what he's singing and what he's saying and what he is conveying because it's just right now, it's just a vocal masterpiece. I'm just saying, I'm just like in an all state moment because this is blowing my mind. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Let's get back into it.
Love you. And you alone were meant for. Please give your loving heart to me and say we'll never part. My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
Yes. Okay. Who's doing that these days? Okay, I'm not even going to say who's not doing that. I'm not, but my God, it's just, wow. Now I understand why his influence is so strong even to this day. The presentation is just, my God, it's just, he is so in his element. I really think he was sitting back in the cut with this song. When I say he was sitting back in the cut with this song, I mean he was just so comfortable to the point that I didn't even see him breathe during this performance. It was like he was just flowing. It's like he just had all of that. I don't know what it was. It's like he just didn't breathe. He was just flowing. And it just seemed so natural, so effortless, so, oh my God, it was just so brilliant. And my God, the suave sophistication was just on point. Wow. And like I'm saying, I'm just seeing artists with him singing this song, within this performance, I'm seeing artists coming out, his disciples, I would say. I'm seeing disciples. I'm seeing somebody like an Al Green or Marvin Gaye or Smokey Robinson or Teddy Pendergrass or a Luther Vandross. I'm seeing Peabo Bryson. I'm seeing Rod Stewart. I'm seeing Elton John. I'm seeing, oh my God, Michael, oh my God, if I'm getting his name wrong, Michael Bolton. I'm seeing all of these male vocalists who were influenced by this man. And they are coming to mind. When he was performing, I saw their faces. I saw their faces within the vocals because his vocals are so influential that I just don't see anybody going away from that, not wanting to learn more, not wanting to do research, not wanting to be inspired to say, this man's voice is like, I want that. I want to study that, but bring my own uniqueness on top of that. Like I say, Sam Cooke's legacy, I hope will never die out because his legacy is so inspiring. He came from humble beginnings. I mean, he came from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Now, isn't that so funny that everybody came from Mississippi? Aretha, Elvis, oh my goodness, Oprah, and all. Mississippi, has something to live for because all of these great, inspiring people, artists, singers, they all came from that state. But going back, but he came from those beginnings, coming from the church, being a gospel singer, deciding to step away from the church to be a soul singer, and coming out with one of the greatest prolific songs that would have ever been recorded. A Change Is Gonna Come, which everybody has their own interpretation of that song. And like I said, I just hope his legacy will never, never go away because it's just something that we all need to read into and look into. And oh my God, it's just that voice. How can you deny that talent? Whew. But before, I'm not going to go any further than that. So if you love this reaction, please share, join, subscribe. Oh my God, press that bell if you really enjoyed this. But God, y'all, I mean, let's get back into this. I'm so inspired to just react to another one of his stuff. But other than that, though, hey, when in the comment section, give me a reaction, and I will look into that. But like I say, if you want to see more of me, I have another show called Truth Behind the Truth that comes on Saturdays from 6 Pacific Coast time, 9 o'clock East Coast time, and 8 o'clock Central Coast time. I don't want to say Central Coast, but Central time. But yes, my God, I'm so inspired right now. Wow. Y'all be blessed and be safe. Bye.